Thank you all for joining. Today, we've got a great one for you. Really excited about today's topic. And today, we're going to be diving into how to optimize your website. So some of you may have your own websites, maybe with your own brokerage site. We're going to be diving into all of that today. And as we go through today's topic, if you have questions, which I'm sure you're going to have some questions about today's, drop them in the comment section, or if you're watching live on Facebook, equally leave a comment. And at the end of today's presentation, or webinar, I'll go through all the questions there and answer as many as I can. So, perfect. So if some of you are here today and don't have a website, you've joined the right webinar. There are several parts to any brokerage website that I deem necessary for you guys to have. And this is a great place to get started when thinking about developing your website. Some of the basic components that any good website or any brokerage website should have is, first, you're going to want to have your homepage. You want to have a central page where you can share what your brokerage is about and offer valuable information to visitors who will hopefully become your clients. Next, you're going to want to have an About Me or a bio page. You will need somewhere on your site where people can search for agents at your brokerage, and you want to ensure that every realtor on your team has a profile on your website and ideally a unique bio about themselves. Things you can include in your bio about yourself are maybe things you did in your professional career before becoming a realtor, maybe what you focus on now if you have specialties, and personal things about yourself. Do you have any hobbies outside of work that help you connect? Next are going to be the services you offer. Provide a clear area so visitors can find the services that you offer, and if it matches what they need. For most of you, this will be selling a home or helping people find a home to buy. You can include some of the services that you do outside of this core function of being a realtor, such as highlighting the fact that you create 3D tours for every listing, for example, if that's something you do. Show what makes your brokerage unique by showing that what you and only you truly do. Following that, definitely you want to include previous properties you've sold. You want to show that you're an experienced agent or are an experienced team or brokerage. One of the best ways to do this is by showing past properties you've worked with clients on. The more, the better, as it builds confidence in visitors' minds, which will encourage them to become your clients. For example, you can show, previous listings and those tours that you created for them. The next thing is definitely client testimonial. A great way to continue to build trust in your visitors' minds is showing testimonials of happy clients. And sorry about the pause there, got a random phone call coming in. And so where was I? Talking about client testimony. So you want to build trust in the eyes of your potential customers. And if you joined me last week, you learned how we can use 3D screenshots of your 3D tours and add testimonials to those images, and how it works really well with advertising. Great way you can incorporate that is into your website as well. So you can include testimonials of your past clients that you find that will resonate with future clients. So try to get quotes or testimonials in there that you think will connect with people on an emotional level, not just, hey, they were great, we sold a house. Try to craft a story or have your client craft a story that will help you connect better. Next is definitely current listings. So displaying any listings that you or anyone on your team has is definitely critical for your website, especially if you're trying to obviously find buyers for your listings. We'll dive into that more. And next, this is a really good one that I don't see a lot of realtors doing on their site, but they should be doing, is talk about what goes into listing or marketing your listings. What's your marketing strategies? I'd encourage you to talk about how you market listings and the impact the work your work has with clients. So here you can brag about your work with 3D tours and how it's maybe secured an out-of-state buyer, or maybe led to a bidding war on your property. Show what you do as an agent and as a brokerage team, And this will help you in your discussions regarding commissions, right? Don't just rely on hot seller markets to sell your listing, because I can guarantee you the top agents today aren't relying on that. They're doing more than that, because once this market shifts, you know, you're going to probably find yourself in a tough spot when it's not such a hard market. And the final couple things are definitely incorporate any important news updates or brokerage updates on your website. So you can share updates outside of just new listings. So you can share recent industry news that will help you seem more in touch with the industry and the latest trends. And this will help lead more clients to build trust with you and your agent's ability. You could also share, you know, internal updates. That's a great way to connect with past clients, for example. So maybe you're a smaller brokerage team or just getting started, and you can share, you know, team member birthdays. That's a fun thing to do. Or if you're a larger firm, maybe you can share, you know, you just open a new office location. So in sharing those updates is great. And blog. So you need to have content on your site to help your site rank. We're going to be discussing a lot of that today. One of the best ways to do those, and what I'd recommend any good site to have, is definitely a blog where you publish content regularly. And the final thing is contact information. While this might come as obvious, I found websites where they make it tough to contact an agent or the brokerage. Make it really easy for them to contact you by not asking every single question under the sun, for example, in a contact form, if you're using a form like that. In addition to that, also make it really easy for them to find on your website where to contact you. These are the 10 things that I'd recommend every brokerage website include. And as you add more pages to your website, more pages are going to get indexed by the search engines, and this is going to help increase your visibility in search results, making it easier for prospective clients to discover you organically. So now that we've covered the basics of your website, let's go a little deeper. The goal of any brokerage website is to create and capture new leads for its agents. When it comes to being effective at doing this, you're going to want to do the following to ensure you're being effective. First, use 3D tours. People love 3D tours. 97% of surveyed sellers say they think 3D tours help sell their home, and they're right. So if you're using 3D tours, I'd recommend you call it out prominently. People are going to be more impressed, and it's going to help set your site apart from other realtors in the area. Next is a responsive design. Mobile use has surpassed desktop use now. So if your website isn't easy to use on smartphones and tablets, you're already kind of behind. So with a majority of users searching on the go, your website must incorporate a responsive design elements that make the content accessible on any browser or device. So with smartphones and tablets having smaller screen sizes, using touch input, you often are at the mercy of variable mobile connection speeds. So will your users be comfortable viewing your website on these devices? This is a question I'd be asking. And definitely since 2015, Google has in fact been using a shift in their search algorithm that rewards responsive sites higher in the rankings. So this is critical for that. Next is lead capture. So when it comes to websites for realtors, success is not measured by the number of clicks and views. A website, to be effective, should be a tool to capture leads and that potentially become your new clients. Don't let users trail off your website without first making a connection. So encourage them to provide their information by using smart call to action items. So for example, you can do a couple things. You know, you can create an ebook. You know, hey, a lot of people do that. It's great for content to be indexed, and people give the email to download an ebook, for example. There's a ton of different ideas out there, and you can go beyond just, you know, you could get creative with it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Next is featured listings. Searching for the best homes can take plenty of time and effort, especially for your buyers looking in new or unfamiliar neighborhoods. So making the property searches on your site fun and engaging for your users by publishing the latest deals is definitely what I'd recommend. So featured listing pages work really well for brokerages, and you can highlight, new or upcoming construction, hot properties in the area, things of that nature. Search tools. And most, if not all of your visitors on your website are going to be heading there because they're looking ideally to buy real estate or selling opportunities. So this is why search tools always rank high on realtor websites. So some real estate customers are more experienced and savvier than others, while there are those that, are not. So placing different search tools on your website will help allow you to appeal to this variety of users and boost your chances of gaining leads and potential clients. So a couple examples would be like a quick search toolbar or an advanced search page, or maybe an interactive map, with listings on it, people can search. Those are all a couple examples. High quality images. So images are really a powerful element when it comes to your website, especially websites for realtors. So great copy communicates important information that's useful, and intuitive features keep users engaged, but images have the power to evoke emotions and capture the imagination of your website viewers. So as a real estate professional, this means conveying an ideal living scenario and lifestyles that listings often don't fully capture will help set you apart. And your 3D tours to help give the full picture of that. Next is simple navigation. Does your website follow what I call is the 3-click rule? In website design, 3 unofficially is the optimal number of clicks that a user needs to find content or information that they need. So the 3-click rule is not a hard rule by any means, but you get the idea. So make your website quick, easy, and convenient is the key to keeping your clients happy. So a couple ideas to help streamline your website's navigational structure are, fixed headers at the top, descriptive, topic-focused labels. Try to avoid maybe drop-down menus. They're not user-friendly and they're not search engine friendly. Limit your menu items to 7 is a good tip, and then include fat footers. So what that means is give your users an overview of your site sections at the bottom of every page in a way that the links aren't going to distract from the main content. Next, testimonials and affiliations. So never underestimate the power of word of mouth. In real estate business, a glowing review or a familiar network connection may be the key to making you relatable in the eyes of a potential client. So dedicate a full page of your site as well as a section of your homepage to a few choice testimonials. Choose statements that highlight your unique strengths as a brokerage, as an agent, as well as a few memorable anecdotes. So ask some of your satisfied clients maybe to record a video testimonial. Those work really well, or text testimonials as well. And then the other one was your key affiliations. So if you're partnered with any local community associations, brands, businesses that will help boost your credibility, I would try to include that as well. Useful resources. So be sure that the information you offer on your website is not limited to property listings only. So, have guides, have mortgage calculators, home valuation, regular market reports, lifestyle guides, all sorts of things that make your site more useful. So it's a one-stop shop for your potential customers' needs, because they may not be ready now. They may be there looking for something else, and this will help them keep you in mind. In the startup world, which I live and breathe in, venture capitalists talk a lot about what is your secret advantage that puts all other competitors at a disadvantage. And I like to think a lot about this because I think it's in a highly competitive world as a real estate agent and what you guys are doing with your website, you need to find a way to be different from everyone else. So up on the right is a real estate brokerage website where you can see what they've done is highly focused on 3D tours. I'm not saying you have to do it as much as this example, but by incorporating 3D tours, you're going to see a boost. And how you're going to see that is through three main things. First, you're going to get an increase in your website traffic. 3D tours help with your search engine optimization. Your search or your site will be ranked higher in the search results, and this will lead to more traffic coming to your site. A big indicator of where you're going to rank is oftentimes your bounce rate, meaning what percentage of people visited the site and then immediately left. So you want this rate to be really small. And that leads to my next point, which is using 3D tours on your website will increase the time people spend on your site. For one thing, people are going to spend that more time on your site when you show them the 3D tours. And with those 3D tours, you're going to see a lower bounce rate, and this is going to help your SEO. So the longer people spend on your site, the higher the likelihood is that they're going to become a lead or be interested in buying one of your listings. And this leads directly into the next benefit, which is, of course, increased leads. With more people visiting your site and staying longer on it, you will naturally start generating more leads. Not only is this visitor to lead ratio, this will not only increase your visitor to lead ratio. What we've seen with some of our partner brokerages that make small changes to their sites, they actually see huge results. So with visitor levels being held constant, one partner we have saw a 35% increase from leads from their traffic just by making some changes and calling out 3D tours. So their traffic levels didn't change, for example, in that, but their leads increased 35% during that time, which that may not sound massive, but when you have 1/3 of every visitor now becoming a lead, that's a huge deal. So including 3D tours in your website will help you to continue to grow, and it will help set you apart from the competition. Now, one thing to keep in mind when I'm talking about this, SEO, which I'm going to jump through soon, so it stands for search engine optimization, takes time. So you're going to look at this on a 3 to 6 to 12 month time horizon, not a week horizon. One thing to keep in mind. So we've got a couple different options when it comes to building websites. So the two I'm going to go through today, the first is using an all-in-one website provider. So there are a number of all-in-one provider platforms that allow you to create your own website and get up and going. And they typically include your own domain name and come integrated with a CRM, which is a customer relationship management solution, and an IDX system, which I'm assuming most of you are familiar with what an IDX system is. And they don't require any extra setup. All you do is purchase the product, and normally you pay a monthly subscription. You figure out how to use their system, and you're up and going pretty quickly, typically with their system. And a couple benefits to get started with this approach, which is one, it's easy to get started because most of their systems is an all-in-one solution that give you, options and themes to pick from, so you can get started and build a site quickly. You're not going to have to, engineer it yourself with a team or outsource that. They're effective, of course. Agents wouldn't be using all of these if they weren't effective. So you can lean on some of the industry's best practices to jumpstart your website. And they're connected with other services. So that CRM, the IDX feeds. So sometimes connecting different services to your website can be a challenge. And these solutions make it really easy. So I've put up a couple sample providers. I'm by no means vouching for these. I haven't personally used these, but they are highly regarded from what reviews tell me. 3 different types you guys can take a look at. I'm sure there's many others out there. One is called Agent Fire that I found. It's very budget friendly. It's an all-in-one platform that includes a easy to navigate website builder, marketing tools, IDX, and CRM add-ons for $129 a month. Mid-range one is called KV Core. It's a great value for the price, though it's on the higher end. They're going to give you customizable websites with IDX included. And they also include multi-channel lead generation engines that allow you to track and seek leads from different sources. and a CRM, marketing automation analytics. And they start at about 500 to 800 per month, depending on the package. And the last one is called Boomtown. This one's more top of the line, most expensive. It's an all-in-one, and it's about 1,500, I think, a month starting at. And the features include lead generation, IDX, CRM solutions, retargeting, lead management services. So it definitely has a lot more to offer than some of the other ones. With that all being said, there are some downsides to an all-in-one website building with this process versus building it yourself. So while it's easy to get started, if you lack the ability, you do lack the ability to truly customize things. So your site may look, similar to many other clients that they have or many other realtor websites out there. When it comes to building your website yourself, this is the next option you have. You can do an all-in-one or you can build it yourself. So when you're going to build it yourself, this typically involves purchasing a web hosting service, a domain name, real estate specific themes for your website design. You're going to need a CRM system and an IDX provider. So while a DIY website seems like a lot of upfront work, you may want to consider going down this route because it does have a couple benefits that you're not going to be able to get with the all-in-one system, such as complete ownership. So you can fully customize it to how you want your website to be. You're going to have better SEO value by purchasing hosting. It's better for building your SEO and improving your site ranking versus an all-in-one platform. So that's one thing. And then, like I mentioned before, greater customization. So with website hosting, you get greater creative control over what plugins you want to integrate into your website. For example, specific IDX or CRM providers that may not be available on some of the other packages. So ideally, you're going to want to choose, in my opinion, now you can do what you want. I would recommend going with a platform that supports WordPress. WordPress is basically what builds your website. There are other options such as Wix and Squarespace and a couple others I'll mention later, but WordPress is recommended because it has some of the better plugins and options to fully customize your website. So to build your website in simpleton form, first you're going to get a website hosting domain name. I would recommend using WordPress. There are other providers out there, but for the purpose of this, we'll go with a WordPress example. So I can recommend you can contact a site called SiteGround Shared Website Hosting, and they're $6.99 a month, and you can get a website domain name and host it there. So once you've done that, once you got a domain name, you're going to want to install WordPress. So with SiteGround, like I mentioned before, the WordPress hosting, you can install WordPress to your domain and host that package directly and straight from there. So they make that easy to get up and running. There are a lot of other sites to create websites with. So if WordPress isn't what you want to go with, some of the other ones I know of are Playster.com, Real Estate Webmasters, Real Geek, Realty Ninja, WolfNet, GoDaddy, Wix, Squarespace. I mean, there's a lot of different things out there. So it's up to you, really. But going along with the WordPress thing, so after you've done this, you're going to want to select a WordPress theme, which just changes the visual aspects of your site so you can make it specific to your desired goals. So some of the things that you're able to customize, for example, is like the IDX, which stands for Internet Data Exchange, by the way. And it's how you get your 3D, or I mean your listing data into your website. So one place you can look at themes that I've found is called Theme Forest. And they've got a lot of great themes there that you can take a look at for about 40, 50 bucks each. So after you've done that, your next step is going to be subscribe to an IDX provider. So this can range from 60 to $100 a month. There's a lot of different providers out there. One I know of is called Showcase IDX. I think they're about 100 a month. But get an IDX. Once you get that, you're going to want to download the IDX plugin and connect that to your site. So once that is set up, you will be able to import all the housing data from your local MLS to your website. And the last step is going to be choosing a CRM system if you don't have one provided with your IDX provider. Some provide it, some don't. So you're going to want to try to connect a third-party CRM to your website through what is called an API connection, which stands for application programming interface, but basically it just means the two systems can talk to each other and share data. So that's kind of, how I would go about building your own site. So when you kind of add up the totals for this, if you're going to do it all your own, like an all-in-one solution, like what I described here, you're looking at maybe $150 a month, which is, it's a pretty good value. With some of the tools I mentioned here versus like what I mentioned before, I think Agent Fire, you could get started with their all-in-one package for, I think, so it's really want to spend on your site. I'm not saying the more you spend, the better your site is, but it's up to you depending on what your preferences are and what you're trying to achieve. So let's talk about optimizing your website. Now that you've got, let's say you've got a website built, how do we optimize it? What is the main thing that we're going to be discussing, which is called SEO, which is search engine optimization. So the primary goal of SEO is to make your website rank highly on search engines such as Google, Yahoo, or Bing. Google being the main one. So, when you type something into Google, the ranking of the websites that you see, that's determined by SEO. So when someone decides to purchase a property, for example, the first thing they typically do is they're going to go Google it, right? And they're going to go in a search engine, and they're going to find a ton of different results, right? Buyers are probably going to click on some of the results found on the first page versus going to like page 5, right? So with SEO, when it comes to real estate, it can be in some ways a winner take all situation. Not always, depending on the market, but you definitely want to focus on SEO, and it's very, very tough. This is a difficult thing to do in real estate. And the reason for that is SEO optimization in real estate is one of the more challenging verticals. The challenge in good SEO for real estate is that it's being dominated by big nationwide companies. Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, Homes.com. All of those websites have authoritative websites that are fighting with large brokerages even. So you're even fighting with large brokerage franchises like Keller Williams, Remax, Coldwell even. And almost every agent even now has their own personal websites, which we're discussing today. And with over 2 million licensed agents in real estate in 2021, that's a lot of competition. So the first step is local SEO. In 2021, more than ever, the first step in ranking your website is going to be getting the SEO for the local SEO nailed down. So Google has been investing a lot in their GMB infrastructure, which has been constantly rolling out new features. And it's been said a million times, and I'm sure you heard this, real estate is local. And that's never been more true than when it comes to real estate marketing. So the first step in establishing your good SEO is going to be creating and claiming your Google My Business listing. So this will officially tell Google about your brand, your business name, business address, business phone number. And you're going to want to first set that up and then link it to your Facebook, Twitter accounts, that kind of thing. So verifying your GMB listing will usually require a postcard being mailed to the business address claimed, and that postcard will contain a PIN which you enter in the GMB for verification. So once your Google My Business account is set up and verified, you'll want to create and update the citation accounts. So the citation accounts are websites that reference your business online, such as Facebook, Yelp, Yellow Pages, Foursquare. You know, there's thousands of directory citation websites out there. So you can't stress about, you know, how important it is to ensure that all these citations are identical, because that will really help your Google My Business listing. So make sure to do that. Alternatively, if you already have a website, start with an SEO audit to determine, you know, what pages are doing well and how you can make improvements. So, you know, this kind of thing can be pretty time consuming. Sometimes you may not want to do it yourself. You know, you can hire someone to do that. If you are going to do it yourself, you know, look at, you know, how does your site rank locally? Where are you getting organic traffic from? Are you generating leads? Are those leads converting into clients? You know, that kind of thing. So when you're looking at this, some of the key areas you're going to want to look at are your site structure, which I'll get a little technical, but you're going to want to look at your XML, your sitemap, robotics, robotic text redirects, things of that nature. Website structures next, your titles, meta description, heading tags, alt tags, URLs, that kind of thing. Your content, the structure, the keywords, the link placements, visual elements, redirects, a lot of that kind of stuff. Links are your outbound, inbound links. They're interlinking between pages on your site. Do you have broken links? And the last main area is going to be like usability. You know, is it mobile friendly? How fast does the website load? Accessibility issues. So you can use like Google Analytics to look at some of this stuff. And you can also use Google Search Console. There's tools out there, you know, you're gonna want to try it out, you know, mobile friendly tool tests, page speed tests you can try on your sites. There is a lot that goes into SEO, and too much that I could ever, you know, talk about today. So I'll try to cover just the big ones for you. So yeah, start with that audit. You don't want to do it yourself, get professional. Next thing is going to be target adequate real estate related keywords. A basic SEO plan starts with targeting the adequate keywords, which will be crawled by the search engines in order to rank you on the search engine results page, which is called SERPs. So think about how a buyer starts their search, right? Do they need a condo for sale in, like this example, La Jolla, right? What are they going to type, you think? Probably condos for sale, La Jolla, right? So there are a lot of keyword tools out there. SEMrush is one that I personally use for Asteroom's SEO here. But keywords are basically, you know, how much search volume, how competitive are they, and can I be ranked high enough, like in the search rankings, that you're on page 1 for that? This is going to be a big part of it. Next big thing is called internal linking. So this linking is the most important part of SEO in real estate. You want to link a minimum of 5 other pages or blog posts on every single thing you write. Why, you may be asking? This provides visitors with an easy way to find more information about related topics, and it gives search engines the opportunity to find your older blog posts. But you don't just want to start linking anything. You want to use the keywords that the post you are linking to is about when you link. So if your post, for example, is about San Diego real estate, then you want to link that post and all your other posts to text San Diego real estate, right? Another next big area is called backlinks. So backlinks are going to make your real estate SEO 2 to 5 times more effective. And honestly, backlinks are probably I know I said that internal links are the most important, but backlinks are probably your most important aspect of SEO. So what a backlink is basically another site linking to you. There are many tactics to get this done. You know, you share great content or blogs and other people share that as well, is one strategy, you know, if they reshare the links. But a few places you can focus on to try to improve your SEO are like, try to get on local news publications, industry publications like Inman or Rise Media, local organizations like Chamber of Commerce, things of that nature, for example, are a couple ideas. And then make sure your website is fast and responsive. The first thing you want to do to establish an online presence after building that site is to ensure you reflect your business in the best way possible. So, you know, responsiveness, if it takes more than 3 seconds to load, you've got an issue. You're not going to be ranked well. Your site has got to load fast, and it's got to be to ensure it's ranked well. So Google prefers sites that run smoothly and quickly, and that's why they give preference in the ranking. So if they take a while to load, people tend to leave more quickly, which increases your bounce rate, which then, you know, lowers your ranking, because it tells Google, hey, if someone's searching for content, they showed up on the page, what they searched didn't match the content on the page and they left. So this isn't a good page to display for this search term. You don't want to do that. So a couple tips for that are avoid oversized pictures and videos that cause speed issues. That's a big one that can cause that. And try to focus on mobile friendliness. 89% of new home buyers start their search right now on a mobile device. Google search engines are focused on mobile first. So start with mobile. Let's jump into the real estate. So search engine optimization. Many broker provided agent websites act as if adding real estate keywords or meta tags to your website is somehow going to magically outrank your local competition, even like large real estate sites like Zillow or Realtor.com. And it's just not, unfortunately. Real estate SEO is a lot more, it's much more than just simply choosing the right keywords. Actually, in fact, Google stopped looking at meta keywords as a ranking factor a couple of years ago, in fact. So that doesn't mean that your keyword research isn't a major part of your SEO campaign, but you need to understand what you want to rank for. And so I provided, you know, what is a common framework and format that all of you guys can follow here on the left side for your keyword SEO ranking. The obvious key phrases are simple, you know, your city, real estate, your city, homes for sale, that kind of thing. Those are obvious keywords, but not necessarily the keywords you want to go after. I would start with trying to go after low-hanging fruit keywords. So find specific keyword phrases that your potential clients are searching for that maybe doesn't have a lot of competition on it. So I'll give you a couple examples. Now, I'm not from these areas and I found them online, so don't butcher me in the comments if I get these wrong here, but one for New Orleans is called shotgun homes. And another one I found for Boston is called Boston brownstones. So things of that nature I would have never thought of, but it's local to that market. So dig in, understand your client's intent, and find those keywords that maybe, you know, those bigger sites are not going after. Because, you know, portals like Zillow create all their sites automatically, and you're going to have an advantage with a custom built page and unique content when you're trying to go after these low-hanging fruit terms. And let's see, so you can follow this framework here, and that will definitely help you. So a couple big updates for you. Google's algorithm learns very quickly. So today, the correlation between keyword research and user intent is more important than ever. So in 2021, Google BERT, with B-E-R-T, which is used on nearly 100% of their searches, which BERT, I forgot to mention, is an artificial intelligence language model that Google developed. And it's an algorithm that updates the AI to understand search query. So what I'm trying to say here is Google is now looking more at intent than just the keywords. They're getting smarter, right? So the intent's very important when you're thinking about your keywords. And you know what that is like. So coming up with a specific set of keywords takes time, and it is a methodical approach, and it does, you know, think about this 6-month kind of outlook. You can't flip a switch and make your SEO and automatically rank at the top page. If someone tells you that, they're trying to mislead you. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that. It takes some time. So SEO for IDX listings. This is a great one for you guys. So anyone that is in real estate understands one of the main reasons that home buyers and sellers use the internet in the real estate process is to search for listings, obviously. The process of having real estate listings on your website is mainly through the implementation of using IDX or VOW. Now, I'm pretty sure IDX is the more dominant option, which allows you to bring in those MLS listings onto your site, right? So when you're displaying an IDX listing on your site, you're pushing out that information, you're pushing out the same information as every other realtor, local realtor, and real estate site from the REITs feed coming from your local MLS, which ultimately now has everyone displaying the IDX on the website, and you're duplicating content. And Google looks at MLS listings as very low quality content because it's not unique and it's duplicated across the internet. For the last 7 years, Google has been moving away from the quantity of content to the quality of content algorithm when it comes to ranking. And the reason is there's just so much content out there. Now it's about quality, not just volume of it. So throwing out thousands of mostly duplicate content pages dilutes the quality of your content that you should be pursuing on your site. And you can avoid this by creating a custom IDX display or augmenting the IDX data with other third-party information, such as your 3D tour, for example. This will have your IDX listings be somewhat different than the other real estate brokers and websites in your area. Another option for reducing duplicate content issue when using IDX is to place the IDX property listings on a subdomain of your website. A couple other tips for you guys are convert your IDX pages to SSL, which search engines such as Google are striving to have a more secure web. And so there's changing their websites from HTTP to HTTPS, which is known as SSL. So this was going to help boost your SEO and your site credibility for a number of reasons, but most notably, encrypting your site content makes it more protected from malicious attempts, as well as safer for your visitors. So in addition to enabling the SSL for your own site, you want to enable it for your IDX pages as well, which people don't always do. Title, meta, and OG tags. So search engines look at your page titles and meta tags to see what kind of different content is on the page. OG or OG tags are used by Facebook to do the same thing. And so your IDX broker system will use these tags in your website to inject relevant information into your IDX pages. So make sure that the wrapper of these tags is put into the header section of your pages. A couple other key things include detail pages for your content. So page sections in your IDX control panel, for example, in the H1 tags will help your SEO, which means just add detail pages to those individual IDXs. And couple other things. I don't want to get too much in the weeds here, so I'll move forward, but there's a couple others I will mention, which is XML sitemap. You want to use something called an XML sitemap. It's not strictly required, but the last couple of years it's been a best practice for most sites. And using those subheaders like I talked about. So subheaders built into your IDX pages. So they're basically a free space at the top of each IDX page where you can add custom content in. And it's a great opportunity to add indexable content to your pages, right? So add a paragraph of text that includes keywords or phrases or images, embedded video for more rich content. So those are a couple of tips to help you guys with your IDX listing and the SEO around those. One other thing I will mention is your HTML sitemap. So adding a link to your IDX sitemap somewhere on your website is going to help the search engine crawlers find your IDX pages faster, and it's going to help them index it more thoroughly. So your sitemap is created automatically by the IDX system to include categorized links that lead to the active listings in your MLS. This means potentially hundreds of or thousands of index detail pages. The traditional placement of the link in a sitemap is somewhere in the footer of the website, and you can find the sitemap in your IDX control panel, typically somewhere in the settings or like under like page templates or design. So that's my last tip for this. Well, today, I try to go deep enough into website optimization so that each of you can go out and develop your own site. And just to recap the things to building and constantly optimizing your site, I would recommend doing the following, which I didn't mention before, but website optimization is an ongoing process. You can always strive to do better, and Google's algorithm, their search algorithm, is always changing. So what worked last year may not work the next year, which makes, I know, extremely frustrating, but constantly optimize, and that's how you focus on winning. If this is a strategy that you're focused on, which is organic, traffic. So to recap, first, include all the basic components of your site. I talked about this first. If you're missing vital portions of your site, like for example, a way to contact you or past listings on your site, it's just not going to be as effective as it could be. So try to include all those basic, or not basic, it's fine, basic necessities on your website. 2, ensure your website is effectively built to capture and create leads. It's not good if your website, it's no good if your website has all the basic components but isn't capturing leads. This can be caused by missing out on some of those items I discussed earlier on, I think it was our 3rd slide. So look at your site analytics and think about, is it actually effective? So track the key performance indicators over time as you iterate and optimize your site. The main one I would look at is your visitor to lead ratio. Is that improving over time or is it not improving? And optimize your site, like I mentioned, never ends. So as Google algorithm changes each year, you're going to want to, try to pay attention to it if you can, or work with someone that does pay attention, because that will help your SEO. And like I mentioned, it really is a winner take all. If you're ranking, page 4 or 5 on Google, people just aren't going to go there. Most people, I don't know what the stat is, but most people focus on page 1. And lastly is optimize your SEO to increase your traffic. So I brushed the surface today on SEO. This is, like I mentioned, a very long-term strategy. So think of it over a 6 to 12 month time horizon. Constant iteration and optimization is going to lead to more traffic over time, but you got to be able to put the work in. So if your website's going to be used to generate leads, then you don't have the option really to not optimize it. Due to the nature of SEO, you find that you may need some consultants that are up to speed on some of the technical sides of SEO. So there's technical things that I didn't talk about, which are involved in the structure of your site, which, how your site structured, the XML, things of that nature, which you may need to get some help with. But if you're focused on SEO, keep at it, because over time you will be successful if you follow kind of the tips I've laid out for you guys today. So this is how I would go about creating my own website as a realtor, as a brokerage owner, or optimizing my own site. And this is going to help you guys stand out and win more listings. So next week, we've got a fantastic webinar coming up. We're going to be talking about referrals, personal referrals, and I'm going to even touch on agent-to-agent referrals. So data is going to be a great one you guys want to tune in for. And every week we add these to our social media on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you missed any previous recordings or webinars, I mean, feel free to take a look at them at your leisure. We've got a lot of great stuff. If you were with us last week on our advertising, a lot of people really want templates for ads. So thank you guys for that feedback. That is something we're working on actually developing for you guys. So how do you guys advertise with your 3D tours and whatnot? I love doing these webinars for you guys. I'll keep doing them as long as you guys, keep joining and attending. And at this time, if you guys have some questions, why don't you drop them in the comments? I'm happy to go through all the questions I can today in our remaining time. And I'll give you guys a minute to pop in some questions and we'll see what we've got. All right, we got a couple questions in here. All right, so we've got some feedback here. Great feedback from Kareem. He says, adding content to your site over time has gotten me to top 3 pages on Google. Great job, Kareem. Sounds like you're well on your way. Yeah, all right, so here's the first question we've got from Craig, sorry about that. Craig, is there an Asteroom plugin for WordPress? Well, at the moment, there's not an actual plugin for Asteroom. So the reason is you don't really need one. With the URL we provide you, you're able to insert that into your website. What we do offer in addition to this, which would be, plug-in kind of thing, is source code. So if you go to your tour and you click share, there should be an option where you can share on your website. If you click that button, it'll give you source code, which you copy and paste to, your WordPress site. So that's an option for you. Very simple to do. You just add it to the HTML code in your site. So I hope that answers your question, Craig. If it doesn't, feel free to drop another comment in there. Let's see, what other questions do we have coming in here? All right, I'm going to switch briefly over to Facebook, see if I have any comments coming in from there. Not seeing anything yet, you guys. I hope what I went through wasn't too technical and, none of you guys have questions because you didn't understand it, but I'll give it a couple more minutes here in case anyone's got a few follow-up questions. My email is up there. If you ever want to get in touch with me, shoot me an email anytime. Happy to help out where I can. And, new ideas for webinars, let me know what you guys want to see next. Okay, well, let's see. I think we got one more comment coming in here. Oh, no, not a question. Well, I think that will conclude us for today. Thank you guys all for attending. I hope you found this educational and beneficial. Again, this recording will be up online, so if you want to refer back to it, you can anytime. And I will see you guys all next week where we're going to talk about generated referrals and how 3D tours are really going to help you guys out with that. So hope to see you guys all there next week. And 3 attendees from this week, I'll be contacting you, giving you guys a free 3D tour. So make it worth your time. But thanks again, everyone, for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you next time. Bye.